Question 20. Do I need to get all of the UI specified before a sprint, or can the developers design the UI as part of the work they are doing in the sprint? Before we look at the specific answer here, let's take a step back and let's remember that a Scrum team is cross-functional. What does it mean? It means that the team members have all the different expertise to be able to take a work item or a user story, for example, requesting a new functionality to be built into the system, take that, bring that in a sprint, and then execute on all the different aspects of the work to build that functionality, so that at the end of the sprint, the whole functionality is built and can be delivered to the end user. That means, typically, it means that we need to have different expertise, such as, for example, designers, software developers, testers, maybe somebody working with integration, maybe somebody expert in security. If we need to write some text for advertising, maybe we need a marketing person, maybe we need an attorney for some legal document. Whatever kind of expertise we need to leverage to build that new piece of functionality into our product, we need to have all the different expertise represented by the team members. Now, let's assume that you are building a digital tool and part of the work that you're doing is about creating a UI design, the user interface for that digital tool, whether that's a mobile app, whether that's a website, there is a need for a user interface. Now, there are a couple of ways that we can approach this work. Now, imagine this. The first way is this. Imagine this. We need to create this new functionality, and the designer on the team starts creating the UI design while developers start writing code to make it work. A tester may work collaboratively with the developer to start testing the code they are writing. Maybe there is another person working in the back office or database creating the data structure and the integration needed to support the data. And as they progress, as these four people progress in their work, they sync up daily, they share updates, they integrate the corresponding pieces, so that by the end of the sprint, all of this comes together nicely, and the feature, the functionality is completed and delivered to the end user. That means that the UI design happens in the sprint. It happens collaboratively, working with everybody else to sync up the work and moving that far along. Another way to look at that is that in one sprint, the designer on the team creates the UI design, and once the UI design is maybe tested and validated by the end users, then in the following sprint, the developers and the coders and the testers work together at implementing all the code and incorporating the UI design and making it work for the end users. Now, this is a little bit of a waterfall structure if you think about it, because the end users cannot really use anything until the work is done in 2 sprints or maybe even more by different members of the team. So there is a delay here. However, sometimes this could be the right approach, especially when the UI design may be complex enough to require some prototype testing, some validation with the end users for the user experience point of view, for example, before we want to actually implement the thing in the product. So we may run that in a sprint, build the prototype of the design, invite some end users to come and give us feedback, test the whole thing, finalize the design, and then in the following sprint, we may bring it to life by integrating that with the code, making it work, and finally deliver the functionality to the end user. So there is probably not one perfect scenario. Certainly the more the Scrum team gets closer to the first example I shared, when the whole team works together on one work item inside a sprint and is able to deliver the functionality, the better, because that speeds up the development process and also create a shared commitment by everybody on the team to be able a functional piece of working product or increment by the end of the sprint.